CCQs, or concept checking questions, are an important ESL teaching resource, whether you're teaching English online or face-to-face. But most teachers don't use CCQs or use them ineffectively. So today, I'm going to share with you the importance of CCQs, and together we'll make effective concept checking questions for vocabulary. When students don't understand something, the default for most teachers is a long-winded explanation. Now, don't get me wrong, not all explanations are bad. In fact, explanations can be good if you're building on students' background knowledge, and they can act as a scaffold for new vocabulary or concepts. However, you and I both know explanations can be wordy. They often introduce new vocabulary, which can exacerbate an already difficult comprehension problem. Instead, we should use concept checking questions. These are a set of questions which are well planned and intentional so that students can gradually unpack meaning and gain understanding. Before we jump into concept checking questions, I want to address why traditional methods of checking understanding are ineffective. Now, I've made these mistakes in my classroom. Heck, I still do. But when you know better, you do better. So let's look at these questions and I'll explain why concept checking questions are a better option. First of all, we have the question, what does irony mean? In my classroom, I will replace the word irony with another vocabulary word, but the problem still exists. In this case, the explanation is more linguistically challenging than the concept or the word itself. Another question that I've used to check understanding is, do you understand embarrassed? Now, most of your students will answer yes. It's true, a few might answer no, but most of your students will answer yes, and they'll do so for three reasons. One, they do understand the word embarrassed. Two, they don't understand the word embarrassed, but they're too afraid or ashamed to let on. And three, they think they know the meaning, but they really don't know. For example, embarazada is the false cognate of embarrassed in Spanish, and the word in Spanish means pregnant. So your students might legitimately think they know the meaning or understand the meaning of embarrassed, but they really don't. Another traditional method of checking understanding is when teachers say, it seems like you really understand the word relative. Now, this is called flying with the fastest. Maybe there are a few students who have shown that they understand an explanation, and so you think that the whole class knows and understands, but really it's not a great way of making sure that every student has shown understanding of a concept. Now let's look at some concept checking questions in action. Remember, CCQs are planned and well thought out so that our students can gradually unpack meaning and show their understanding. Our first sentence is, the actor retired when he was 70 years old after a long and successful career. Here we're looking at the word retired. Did he stop working?
Yes.
Did he choose to stop working?
Yes.
Did he stop working because of his age?
Yes.
Now, the answers to these questions help us to understand that the word retire means to stop working out of your own choice because of your age. If any of your students answer incorrectly, that's a teachable moment. It gives you an opportunity to look at the distinction between retire and some other words. It will help to focus the explanation that you provide, making it easier for your students to understand. Here's another example of a CCQ. After almost 30 years with his company, the man was laid off. Did he stop working?
Yes.
Did he choose to stop working?
No.
Was the company unhappy with his work?
No.
Did the company have any financial problems?
Yes.
Once again, if your students answer correctly, the answers to these questions will highlight and really illuminate the meaning of the word layoff. Now, when you form a concept checking question, it's important to consider the semantic meaning of the word. You should also consider the style of the word. Is it formal or informal? course, you want to consider any collocations that the word might be formed with. Do we use this word with people or things or both? Now, a good concept checking question should also be easy to answer. Most of them are yes/no questions or questions that require a short answer response. In addition, we want to make sure that these questions can easily prove our students' understanding. And they should also highlight to the teacher any gaps in understanding. This way, the teacher can look at the distinctions between the questions and really focus any explanations that follow. Let's go through how to make a concept checking question. First of all, you want to find the full meaning of the word. Now, words have multiple meanings, so choose the meaning that fits the context of your situation the best. Then take that meaning and create a set of closed, simple questions that your students can answer. These questions might be yes/no questions requiring an answer of yes or no. They can also be short answer questions requiring just a couple words to answer the question. They can be an either/or question, giving the students two choices, or they can be personalized questions. For the personalized questions, you need to know your class well enough so that you will know whether or not the situation applies to their personal situation. Now, let's go through some of my tips and hints for making sure that your concept checking questions are effective. First of all, you want to make sure that you're checking the correct meaning. The example that we have here is not checking the correct meaning of the word in question. Next, you want to make sure that you're specific about the meaning so that when the students answer the question, you can check that they really know the specific meaning that you're trying to address. Third, you should never use the target language in your question. We want to make sure that our students know the target language, so don't use it in the question itself. Next, you want to make sure that your concept checking questions are easy to answer. So it's important to grade your vocabulary. Make sure that it's below the target language itself. And finally, make sure that your questions target the right language. Of course, you could be asking lots of different questions, but you want to make sure that any question you use targets the correct language. Check out the description box below because I've left you a downloadable worksheet so you can continue practicing your concept checking questions. Now, click or tap the screen to learn the best process for teaching and learning vocabulary. I'll see you in the next video.